Hello, I'm Megan, aka Just Run It, and this is Megan's Monday Musings. Happy Monday. It has been still crazy at work for me. I have had time to do a little bit of knitting. So this past weekend I was online, but also did some knitting. And so this week I wanted to talk to you about the last step of the That's a Rapazoid KAL, which is an I chord. And so I've always wondered, and this was a great excuse, what I chord stood for. What was that I in I chord? So was it I've been working on an I chord, or I really enjoy I chord, or was it I something else? So if you're not familiar, an I chord is a small number of stitches that are worked in a tube. And so you get to the end of that small number of stitches. Generally, it can be worked over like 3 or 4 stitches. And instead of turning at the work and working it flat, you end up slipping those stitches back and connecting the yarn to the beginning of those 4 stitches, and it makes a helical tube on itself. That's an I chord. So in my research, I found that in Victorian knitting manuals or needlework manuals, that was called a lace stay, which makes sense. You put that on the end of a shawl and it would hold the lace, kind of weight it down, keep it from kind of rolling. A lot of times you use garter or ribbing or something else for that, but this would also help the lace stay. But then Miss Elizabeth Zimmerman came along and she renamed it an I chord because A, it's a chord, and she thought it was so easy that even an idiot could do it. So that I is actually for idiot. It is a very simple maneuver with fantastic results. I don't know that I would call it idiot. Maybe you could call it ingenious, or I'm struggling with other I words. I probably should have thought of that before I hit record. But I just wanted to show it off. It's a really great way to finish. Sometimes I chords are just worked, those 4 stitches helically wrapping around and creating that chord. And then you can do things like put it in a hoodie, cinch something up, or it can be applied like it is in the Rapazoid. And that is basically doing that I chord, but at the very end, you're applying it. It's an applied I chord because you're working a stitch that either was a live stitch, like at the top collar of the Rapazoid, or on the side where you've picked up stitches and you've got a live stitch there. You work the last 2 stitches, so you're doing a decrease. If you've ever done an applied piece of lace work or applied knitting in other places, the I chord is very similar. So you're just you knit 2 and then you knit 2 together through the back loop, and that combines that live stitch with the I chord stitch and makes it an applied I chord. So again, there's the live stitches. So there's garter. I went up 2 needle sizes because my I chord was really taut and I wanted it to be stretchy. And so I worked that. It made it easier to work with the 2 strands held together as well. So held double. And then there's where I picked up that slipped stitch, and it's beautiful on the right side and it's beautiful on the wrong side. As far as a kind of encompasses and hides that salvage stitch where we were slipping with the Rapazoid. So that's what I'm musing about this week. I would love to hear about other projects where you have used I chords in fun and ingenious ways. And happy I chording if you're doing the KAL. Bye, Ufta.